As many of you are aware, there are a number of changes currently taking place throughout the youth soccer landscape, many of which affect our local area players. Throughout this video, we'll explain upcoming changes due to U.S. soccer initiatives, the Cajun Soccer Club Senior Academy, the LYSA CSC Developmental Pathway, and upcoming player placement dates. Last fall, the U.S. Soccer Federation, which governs the game at every level within the United States, announced 3 initiatives within the youth game to be implemented beginning in the fall of 2016. To begin, the U.S. Soccer Birth Year Initiative mandates that teams be formed based on the birth year of the player rather than the August through July school year as had been previously done. As you can see, players born between 1998 and 2009 are eligible for programs on the Cajun Soccer Club competitive program pathway. Additionally, U.S. Soccer announced new small-sided game formats for the U5 through U12 age groups with the belief that the new formats will aid in the technical development of players by increasing the level of involvement and direct contact with the ball during a game, while also providing a more logical progression in the number of players on the field as we build to the 11 versus 11 game format. And finally was the announcement of the Recognize to Recover initiative intended to decrease the exposure of our youngest players to potentially concussive scenarios while on the field. We have been discussing these initiatives with our Cajun Soccer Club coaching staff throughout the spring season and will continue to prepare them ahead of the start of the 2017 fall season so that they can effectively instruct players and guide parents through these changes. Additional information can also be found on U.S. Soccer Federation official website, www.ussoccer.com. In mid-April, we announced the formation of the Cajun Soccer Club Senior Academy, a program modeled after the U.S. Soccer Development Academy. The USSDA began play in 2007 as a national team training program and competition conducted and administered by the United States Soccer Federation. Only offered as a boys program, it consisted of dual age group teams in the U15-16 and U17 divisions, but has since grown to the point of creating a U12 division slated to begin play in the fall of 2016. Since its inception in 2007, the USSDA has quickly become the preeminent boys youth environment throughout the country, encompassing its own league play, college showcase events, and postseason events exclusive to USSDA member clubs and teams. As the USSDA has grown, it has drastically altered the college recruiting landscape as most collegiate men's programs recruit heavily, if not exclusively, from these development academy teams and events. Most recently, U.S. Soccer announced in March that it would also be creating a girls' U.S. Development Academy program set to begin play in the fall of 2017. The effect this will have on the women's recruiting process will undoubtedly be similar to what has been seen on the boys' side over the last 9 years, creating a situation in which our players will find it increasingly difficult to gain the necessary exposure to secure opportunities to play at the collegiate level. In order to gain admission to the exclusive environments offered through the USSDA, clubs must adhere to a number of strictly regulated elements and regularly be evaluated by the U.S. Soccer Federation in order to maintain their USSDA standing. At a minimum, clubs are required to field teams in the U15-16 and U17-18 divisions. The Development Academy competition consists of a 10-month season running from August through the following June. All USSDA teams are required to train a minimum of 4 days per week with only 1 off day required. With 4 training sessions per week and just 1 off day required, teams may train anywhere between 4 to 6 days in a week depending on what point they are at during the seasonal year. As you can imagine, participation in a 10-month season does not leave much time for other things outside of the soccer environment. Thus, players within the USSDA are prohibited from playing high school soccer. This regulation was initially met with strong opposition, but has remained an integral factor within the program. Oftentimes, teams consist of large player pools, primarily in order to create an environment of consistent competition for roster spots on game days, as a maximum of 18 players are allowed to dress out for any one game. And they uphold strictly regulated coaching standards requiring that all head coaches must hold a minimum of a USSF B license. As you can see, the U.S. Soccer Development Academy environment is meant to be exclusive, and ultimately these requirements prove to be prohibitive to many clubs. Currently, Louisiana does not have any clubs participating in the U.S. Soccer Development Academy, primarily due to 3 factors. As you can imagine, a national program of this magnitude is cost prohibitive for us, with the operational expenses of a single USSDA team reaching approximately $132,000. For a roster of 24 players, that's $5,500 per player. At that cost, most Louisiana clubs simply cannot afford to enter the required minimum of 2 teams in the U15-16 and U17-18 divisions at a cost of $264,000, and we're simply not willing to pass on that cost to our membership. Second, our lower state population relative to many other areas of the country that are home to participating USSDA clubs does not afford us with the necessary number of players willing to, one, commit to a 10-month season at the expense of nearly all other activities, and two, that are willing to forego opportunities to play for their high school programs. We recognize that high school sports are an important element in the lives of our players and families and would not expect them to give this up. And third, few clubs have a sufficient number of USSF B licensed coaches or above to support the required number of USSDA teams without the remaining parts of their competitive programs suffering as a result. Going back to the March announcement of the Girls Development Academy program and the inevitable impact it will have on the evolution of the youth game, we asked ourselves what needed to be done to ensure that our local players would not fall behind and lose out on opportunities to play at higher levels later in life, given the rapidly progressing youth environment. Ultimately, we decided to take the areas of strength within Cajun Soccer Club and use the U.S. Soccer Development Academy as a model with which to create an environment that is able to replicate many of the important developmental elements of the USSDA while operating within our local soccer culture to provide our players with the necessary opportunities to train and play at a level commensurate with some of the top programs in the region and nation. Within the Senior Academy, our head coaches will be required to hold a minimum of a USSFC license rather than the B license minimum required through the USSDA. Rather than training 4 to 6 days per week, our Senior Academy teams will train 3 days per week. Occasionally, a team may have a fourth session in a week, but that would likely be on a weekend when the team did not have a scheduled game. Our head coaches will be required to start each player on a Senior Academy team in a minimum of 25% of the games played during the year. This is an important developmental piece within the USSDA that allows players the opportunities to be seen. Given that each player will be expected to have exhibited the same level of commitment and are at relatively similar levels of play, players should be able to be interchanged through this requirement without having a negative impact on team performance. When a number of committed and talented players deems it to be necessary, larger player pools may be formed to ensure that players that should be playing within the Senior Academy are given that opportunity without the constraints on maximum roster sizes. We do not anticipate this happening often, but are committed to putting the individual needs of our players first. And finally, roster flexibility. When a situation dictates, players may be either dropped or added to a Senior Academy team at any point during the seasonal year based on their level of commitment and level of performance. This, of course, would not happen without first communicating to both the player and parents affected. Through this combination of elements, we believe that the Cajun Soccer Club Senior Academy will provide players with the chance to receive exposure to collegiate coaches and, more importantly, properly prepare our players for those opportunities. With the addition of our Senior Academy program, as well as extending our developmental pathway downward to begin with the U8 age group with the juniors program, you can see that the LYSA CSC developmental pathway now offers a level of play to meet the needs of players throughout various ages, ability levels, and degrees of ambition. As historically has been the case, the LYSA recreational program is the foundation of everything we do and the introduction to the game for the vast majority of our competitive players. It is from here that we hope to continue to help players grow, as they so choose, through the TIPS training program, onward through our U8 Juniors, U9 Academy, and U10 Academy, into the Cajun Soccer Club competitive program, Senior Academy program, and potentially into the collegiate ranks. Our role as a club is not to make sure that players go off to play collegiately. Rather, it is up to us to make sure that our players are afforded opportunities to continue to play as long into their future as they so choose. How long and at what level is ultimately the decision of each individual player. When registering for the upcoming U14 through U18 CSC player placements, you will see a team definition for each competitive program offered for the 2016-2017 year. As you can see with regard to the Senior Academy program, a greater level of commitment will be required than what has historically been found with many top-level CSC teams. This increased level of commitment is necessary to ensure that players and teams are adequately prepared to play in the 3 to 4 major college showcase events scheduled throughout the year. An increased level of commitment does not mean that players can never miss a training session or game. Rather, that persistent absences will be addressed quickly with players and parents to find a level of play that best meets a player's needs and desires. Similar to an AP or honors level class in school, with greater opportunity comes a greater level of effort and time required to achieve success. Within the construct of the updated developmental pathway, the U8 through U13 age groups will be unaffected and will be formed by true birth year as dictated by the U.S. Soccer Birth Year Initiative. Beyond U13, CSC Fury and CSC Rage teams will still function as the top true birth year teams in an age group as opposed to the dual year age groups within the Senior Academy. For example, At the U14 and U15 age groupings, a U14-15 Academy team may be formed in addition to a true birth year U14 team, Fury and Rage 03, as well as a true birth year U15 team, Fury and Rage 02, and so on through U19. In an effort to help families schedule, as well as to ensure that players can effectively communicate with college coaches, the event schedule for each Senior Academy team has been set in advance. All teams will attend the Plano Labor Day Showcase in Plano, Texas in order to get some high-level games early in the season, and beyond that we have chosen showcase events that are still highly attended by collegiate programs of all sizes and divisions. As we have historically done, we'll take the players to one showcase event during their high school season, as that is a primary recruiting time, and then release them back to their high school programs for the remainder of their high school season. Club fees for our 2016-2017 Cajun Soccer Club programming can be found on our website, www.cajunsoccerclub.com. As you can see, the fees specific to the Senior Academy do differ from the club fee, team fee structure current families are accustomed to. CSC Senior Academy team players will pay a single fee directly to the LYSA CSC office that will cover all state registration fees, insurance, league entry fees, tournament and showcase entry fees, coach per diem, etc. For those unfamiliar, several current CSC teams participating in the U.S. Youth Soccer Southern Regional Premier League, U.S. Club Soccer Gulf States Premier League, the Louisiana Competitive Soccer League, as well as attending various tournaments and showcases currently play very close to these amounts, but with not near the value in either the training environment or opportunities for collegiate exposure. The Cajun Soccer Club player placement process is right around the corner for our U10 Academy through U19 Fury, Rage, and Senior Academy teams. All players may register online for their respective age group's player placement session through Blue Sombrero. If you do not yet have a Blue Sombrero account, you can create one by first going to www.cajunsoccerclub.com. During the annual CSC player placement process, evaluators will judge players based on technical ability, receiving, passing, finishing, dribbling, their physical ability, athleticism, speed, balance, coordination, their tactical level, understanding of game situations, decision-making, and psychosocial factors including coachability, desire, commitment level, and their ability to deal with adversity. For all returning CSC players, coach evaluations completed at the end of both the previous fall and spring seasons will also be heavily considered. However, coach evaluations are not a substitute for attending a player placement session. Teams will be chosen by grouping players based on their performance at the player placement sessions, previous seasons' evaluations where applicable, level of commitment, and desired competitiveness. Thank you for taking the time to find out more about the upcoming Cajun Soccer Club competitive program offerings and advancements. We recognize that with any change, there may be a level of anxiety and confusion, so please do not hesitate to contact the OYSA CSC Technical Director, Aaron Klein, with any questions you may have or clarification you may require. Best of luck to everyone as we head into the stretch run of the spring season, state competitions getting underway, and player placements beginning. It is an exciting time for us, and we very much look forward to continuing our relationships with the Acadiana soccer community. Thank you.